Alright, what is up guys? It's your boy Darsh, and today I'm going to be doing a Java tutorial over strings. So strings are, as you might know, they're a collection of chars, and most importantly, this is how you initialize a string. So string x equals, in this case you want to put whatever string, in strings they are, you can put spaces, you can do whatever. They're very useful for printing out stuff. So in this case, let's just call it ease for now, right? And when I do, when I print this out, I don't know what I'm doing. When I print this out, it prints out, ease. And now the way this works, to understand how the other methods work, is it's a collection of arrays. It's a collection of it's a array of characters. Okay, so the way that works is, so let's say I have a char array. Let's call it J, and we want to put things inside here. Let's do the word radio, right? Oops. As you can see, it's kind of dumb to do this, but I'm just trying to show you guys how it works. Oh my god. Okay, so we have radio, right? And we want to put that inside a string. So string, let's call it W equals new string. Inside here, we want to put J. And when we print this out, when we print out W, it should print out radio, right? And it does. So that's just how it works, and inside here let's just put radio. And one of the main methods that is used a lot, or that is used, is char at, and that basically returns a char. So if you think about similar like an array, it does that index. It is that character within that index, right? Within a certain index. So if I do 0, it will get R. If I do 1, it'll get A. 2, 3, 4, and so on. 5 would be out of bounds. So if I just want to print out the D, I would need to go to the second position, and when I run that, it does print out D. Our next method is is the length. To get the length, you just type .length, and that returns the length of this array, the length of this tree. In this case, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. It'd be 5. And that just gives you the length. It can be useful to find the size without counting, especially if you have a really long string, like, let me just explode on my keyboard, something like that. Yeah, so that's 20. I'm just going to take his word for it. So those are two of them. Another one would be, let me think. Another one would be equals. So equals checks for equality. So let's say I have two strings. So string y equals, let's say it's radio with capital. Let's say I want to check for equality, right? This would print out a boolean. So let's say x equals y. And in this case, it would be false because it's case sensitive. However, if I want to remove the case sensitive, I would just type another method called equals ignore case, and this will ignore the case, so it'll return true because radio are made up of the same letters but just different cases. Next one would be replace. So this is to replace anything. This will replace every single element that you wanted to replace, I guess, if that makes sense. I'll just show you an example. So, whoa, what is that? Replace old char with new char is what it says, and in this case, our char will be R, and we want to replace that with W, right? What is that? Oh, oops. So we want to replace that with W. So when we do that, it makes it a radio. But let's say I have multiple R's. Let's say I have one at the end. It replaces both. Another thing is substrings. So substrings are pretty important when we are trying to get a part of a string, not the whole thing. So let's call it string sub equals, in this case to make it easier, I'll do 0 through 9 so you can see the index. 7, 8, 9. And then you want to print out, let's say you only want 4, 5, and 6, right? So how do you get those numbers? You'd use a substring. So sub.substring, and you want to start at the beginning index. In this case, you want to start at the number 4. And you want to end at, so we want to get 4, 5, 6, so we want to end at 7. The reason for this would be because everything starts one thing behind. So 0 is back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 10 would be the length, and yeah. So if I do 0 through 10, it would print out 1 through 9. If I do 0 through 9, it would be 1 through 8. And you can see how that works, because this is the breaking line, and 9 is not a part of that. So similarly, if I do from 4 to 7, it would break off here, so it would be 4, 5, 6. And yes, that is the case. You can also do substrings with one number. So let's just do from 4. Now do 4 through 9 because it doesn't have an end, so it automatically assumes you're talking about the end. Yes. So basically, that's a substring, and there are also ways to make the case uppercase, I guess. So in the case of our radio example, let's do system out x dot to uppercase, right? And that just makes it uppercase. In this case, it prints out radio with all uppercase. In this case, let's say we want the capital radio, which is string y, this one right here. Let's say we want that uppercase, or lowercase, my bad. Lowercase. So when we do that, it makes it all lowercase. Next thing is trim. So the way a trim works is, so let's say I have a string with a bunch of spaces, right? H equals, let's say the user types a bunch of spaces for whatever reason, but you don't need these spaces, right? It's a waste. That's where trim comes in. It just removes any trailing spaces. So just to show that it prints out the spaces, we want to do H plus, we're going to concatenate an X, right? Which reminds me, okay, whatever. So this thing right here. What we don't want is these spaces, right? We just want hello X. So we do system out h.trim. Trim just gets everything, gets all the spaces out, and when we put X this time in, it'll get rid of that. And that's very good if your user, if you're making some software and your guy decides to put a lot of spaces for some reason. This thing reminded me, when you do adding things, those are called concatenations, right? And the way they work is, let's system out h, right? h.concatenate. And when we concatenate a string, we should put my name in there. So when we print that out, it does, oh yeah, I forgot, it's a bunch of spaces. Let's just create a new string. We'll call it HH, and without these spaces. If you do hh.concatenate, you can see it does hello Darshan. So when we're doing this, when we're doing this method right here, this is the same thing as doing hh plus, you have to add it as a string. And you want to put a space here because you want a space between hello and Darshan. And see, that's why it prints out. So basically every time you're doing this, think that you're doing a concatenation. And if we want to concatenate another thing to this, you are cool. We'll put hello Darshan, you are cool. And then that's just concatenating this string with that string and combine it into one big string. Another thing is to get it into an array. So now that we have it in, let's say we have hello in this format, we want to get it back to this format. So how do we do that? We use a method called toChar Array. And we can just do that. So create a new char. So char new char, and that would equal to hh.toChar array. So basically what this does is print out that char array. So when you print that out, new char, it'll print out hello, but arrays.toString new char, and that just prints out everything inside that. Another thing is .split, and split makes it into a string array, so we can type string new str array equals hh.split, and you can type anything you want to split it within. In this case, we'll just do just a split. We just want to split it after every single character, so they'll do that. And when you print it out, I'm just going to print out the array new str array. So when we print that out, it prints out hello, but this one is a string array, that one isn't. So a good example of splitting would be, let's create a string called string, what would be called str, I guess, equals, in this case we want to split, we have animals, we want to split it after every one of these, right? So we got lion, tiger, dogs, cats, right? So we want to split it after every single comma, and we'll put comma here. We'll want to split after every single comma, right? So we want to put a comma inside here, and when we do that, it splits it into all the animals, I guess. Yeah, so it should split out every single animal. STR, my bad. So as you can see, it does it after every single animal, and when we put a space here, it gets rid of that space earlier, because technically when it splits here, it doesn't, when it removes that, it'll think there's a space, so that's why you have to remove it like that. So it'll just get the animals without the spaces. So that's splitting arrays. Last but not least, there is contains, and this basically searches a string. So let's create a string, or let's create a sentence, I guess, and we want to call it the quick brown fox, right? We want to do a check to see if something contains that. These are case sensitive, so contains, that was weird, contains some string, right? In this case, you want to do, let's say it contains fox, right? This should print out a true statement, so yeah. And it is case sensitive, so if I do capital F, it does not exist, so it prints out false. So these are all the basic string commands that should help you do basic stuff within Java. So thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next one. Peace.